Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner, Gurren Lagann versus the White Lantern, Death Battle. Let's see what they got for us today. Let's see what's going on. Make sure everything right.
Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern. Two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to...
Nah, I know nothing about none of these characters. I don't watch Gurren Lagann. Baker's crazy. Yeah, you on the plane for a minute. I don't know nothing about the White Lantern or Gurren Lagann. I ain't watching none of them.
Analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Deep underground, Jiha Village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave. That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty. Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simon. He was there too, I guess. Simon was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt.
Alright, is it 821? I think it's all. Okay, this is just his background. This likes paperwork authority, anti-spiral. Oh, this to show an anti-spiral.
Drill.
That's that OP nigga.
The mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark.
I guess I gotta stop this.
The sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren. And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann. With Kamina piloting the body and Simon the head, these two were unstoppable. Of all the giant fighting
this is a mech show. That's why I never watch it.
Across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower and capable of making any weapon they can imagine, including missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses boomerang, and of course, drills! Wrist-mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku! Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome. Until Kamina died. Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen? Nope, and it was all Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit. So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simon who believes in you. Damn. Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simon who found Lagann, Simon who pierced the surface, and Simon who would now lead humanity to victory. Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked. Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis. Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah. Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential. Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann...
Ain't this supposed to be one of the most OP niggas inside fiction? This nigga right here? I always see stuff about him, but I never watched the show.
Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simon can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Creating the Arc Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each laser would have to be
Instantly?
moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light.
How do they even come
Looks
up
like
with
this
these
wins the
numbers
award
and
for
names?
fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history. Congratulations, Gurren Lagann.
Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that is.
But it wasn't enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth. An attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world.
Except Simon and his spiral power are just built different. And after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional, meaning Simon absorbed a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope.
11D is crazy.
What? Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person.
Okay, that's not too far off from what actually happened.
Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding another to the mix.
Wait, if every human being has spiral power,
So that means he got like the power of, what do they call it? The narrative, changing the narrative or something like that of the story, like the most powerful thing. More powerful than like
you're
Toon
telling
Force and
me
stuff
we
like
can
that.
all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy. Like shooting missiles that alter probability so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I
What
say
the hell is this
galaxies?
show?
I meant universes.
Simon's power was so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our
Yo,
own
what
universe.
is this show?
With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Like when Lord Genome used spiral power to survive quantum breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, Wiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even
Yeah,
this was not
bro,
enough for the
what the hell is this
anti-spiral,
show?
Simon evolved one more time.
Into Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann!
Nigga,
This
this
mech
is a
is
Super
so
Saiyan.
big, its size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simon and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simon's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up, for all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
Yo, what the hell? Now, how is the White
universe is a
Lantern supposed to be
dangerous
that?
place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps! They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite,
Hal
Hal Jordan.
You know him, you love him, you might hate him, but you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal
Studies.
was?
Rayner study. 5'11", weight 175. Okay. Enemy of heat. It's like DC editorial. Okay, so he is powerful if he's aware of editorials. Jaws and love triangles.
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient box can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space.
So
providing
anybody
speeds
in
that
DC
are not only
just faster
faster
than
than
Speed
light,
Force.
but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Boozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3
Okay, they'd be
dimensional
going-
Big Bang. Wait,
They'd be going overboard with these scaling stuff, because what the hell you mean eternity?
0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So it is
Ring's
bigger
only
than...
downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't
Crazy.
the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save
Okay.
Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Hold on. Red Lantern, Napalm Plasma, got all type of powers. The blue is healing. I would think that would be green. Indigo.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless
OP.
avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely
I
his
ain't even
enemies'
surprised no
attacks,
more,
but
though.
also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices
Lobo?
and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged and Kyle became a white lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I can
So if there is a white lantern, is there a black lantern? That's something. I gotta search it up
think
afterwards.
of an attack more
That's
useless
kinda
in a
interesting.
death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
let's
not
stop.
totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the life equation.
Hey, that's
Essentially
God.
the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation, like its counterpart, the anti-life equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion.
So that's
carrying the
basically a
universe
black
on his
lantern
back.
right
But
there.
ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
Now, let's see who they will up to win this one.
Hey, remember Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia? No? Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime. But we've got a solution. It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive. It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg live right now. All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
I'm putting it on White Lantern. For one, his universe is bigger, and it's stating that it's 12 point whatever, 12.4 or something like that. When Gurren Lagann stuff was only 11, so it looks like he have more for variety in his powers also. You know what? I don't know. I still betting on white though. If it ain't white, it ain't right.
I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are? I'm told I'm bad with authority.
Tell Tell me about it. 4.
4?
That's creative.
That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens! Take it to Gurren Lagann!
He power up way too fast.
That's really cool. I'm a lantern.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
Now you know!
I just man powered up as Superman.
I'm Simone the Digger! If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that believes in you.
Don't he have control of all life? Kyle? We turn to the rainbow.
Take it to Gurren Lagann! My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill Free!
Pretty cool. Infinity.
The super weapon wasn't your mech.
Why they had that
It
boy
was me.
cheeked up?
Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power.
White Lantern's light.
Lantern flight!
Let's see you grit those teeth!
I'm confused, bro.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simone of Earth, you have been chosen.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Okay, they gotta explain that to me because it seems like White Lantern was more powerful than him.
Sunglasses.
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
But Simone's imagination was a little limited, wasn't it? He only could think of
First
like
up,
drills.
Imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing
what
Simone
I'm saying.
couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle.
Oh, in the beginning they did say that he evolves on, he grows, could evolve through anything infinite, which is crazy.
Since spiral power
I do remember
also
them
lets
saying
him
that.
regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a
And they could
matter
turn
of
into
time before
Tiger
Kyle's ring
Wolf.
ran low on charge. Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
Yeah,
A
that's
pretty
OP.
similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
That's crazy.
Next time on Death Battle.
Okay, Torn Force.
Subscribe and join as a member to see more.
That's interesting. I wonder who win that. Wait. Anyway. Alright, that's it for that video. I was quite surprised about the winner though. I swear the White Lantern was supposed to win. I know a bunch of people about to be mad at what the outcome was. But anyway, make sure to like and subscribe, follow up on other videos, visit my channel, and thank you for watching.